Today I am going to explain a recently released supernatural horror movie named Consecration. Grace Farlow is going somewhere on the way and is saying that her brother used to believe that she had a guardian angel, but she used to believe nothing. Only then a nun stands in front of her who is about to shoot. Let's see the story from a few days ago, where Grace is an ophthalmologist working in West Virginia. One of her patients has a delicate eye problem, so she refers her to Dr. John Holmes. She has a lot of sympathy for that lady. She watches her while leaving. She talks to Dr. John about her patient and goes home. She stays alone at home and the lights get off while she is working. She also hears some noises. When she looks, she finds nothing. In the picture of her childhood, there is blood in her brother Michael's image. In the mirror, she glimpses a nun behind her whose face is not visible. But then suddenly the phone rings. DCA Harris informs about Michael's dead body has been found at a convent in Scotland. They are investigating the possibility of a murder-suicide. Hearing this news, she is filled with sorrow, so she arrives in Scotland to look into the matter and inadvertently becomes a guest in the church where her brother used to work as a priest. Detective Harris tells that Michael's with the coroner at the moment, so she will get to see his body later. Till then, he shows her the convent. On the way, Harris tells Father Carroll was visiting the convent from Rome, whose body was found in the chapel, but Michael's body was found below the ruins of the old church. He assumed that Michael killed the father and then he took his own life. Grace could not believe this thing at all. Harris also asks her how Michael came to be involved with such an extreme sect, but she was not in his touch for a long time, so she has no idea about this. Harris tells a few weeks ago, one of the nuns claimed that she saw the devil. She cut her own eye out. She was doing the other one too, but she fainted. They come to the convent where they meet the Mother Superior. She says it was the demon who killed Father Carroll. The demon had dominated Michael. He had the strength of mind to fight it, tragically taking his own life in the process. He tried to fight him. Grace asks how she knows. She says that she has indirectly seen this in her vision. Listening to her, Grace gets annoyed and calls her a bad word. Harris forbid her because she had to stay here for a few days. Now he takes Grace to the same spot where Michael was found, which was the debris of an old building, and Michael's body was found on the stones below from here. She checks his body in the morgue, but then she sees Michael, who says it's not safe here and she should leave. Then she passed out. She is having childhood visions. She regains consciousness in the hospital. Near her, a sister is standing. Father Romero arrives, who has been sent by the Vatican to investigate the matter. The church is also being tarnished by this tragedy because Father Carroll was also killed. She tells that there was no sand on Michael's body. They found him at the beach, so there would have been sand on him. Even while cleaning for the autopsy, there should have been sand in his hair. Father tells that he will look into it. He asks if is there anybody he can call. She tells her mother is dead and her father is in prison for killing her. Here we learn one thing about Grace: she is an atheist. She gets a vision that a century ago there was a girl who was wearing a devil mask and people were sitting around her. Perhaps some ritual was about to happen here, but only then did knights come there, because of which everyone escaped. Only then she wakes up. Next, she arrives at the same spot where Michael's body was found, but when she looks up, shockingly she finds all the debris intact. And from there, one by one, the nuns are killing themselves by jumping down. Seeing these visions, she passed out, and when she regains consciousness, she is inside the convent. She finds herself wearing nun clothes. When she goes out, everyone's doing lunch. She tells the Mother Superior that her brother was badly hurt before he fell. Mother asks how did she come by this revelation, but at the moment she does not have any answer to this. She doesn't even accept that there can be God's grace. She didn't even talk about God. That is, she has no faith in her visions at all. She asks about her clothes. Mother Superior says that she has given them to be washed. Just then, Father Romero appears and takes Grace with him to the wreckage. He tells the church dates back to the 12th century. It hosted religious artifacts, but when it collapsed, they used the stones for the new chapel. The founders called themselves the Knights of Morning Star. They had a certain power in the church. Some say it was a dark force that influenced even the nuns in our convents. It's a mystical past, a fantasy. It's just buried inside history. In fact, there is also a confession brick here on which Asclepius is made. When they returned from their bloody crusades, they would stand here in front of this cross and take a step back for every sin they committed. The more step they took, the more sins were forgiven. Some arrived as murderers and left as saints. Grace says they fell to their death. Perhaps Grace had seen the same glimpse. Now they come back to the convent. Then Father Romero tells that Grace's suspicion is correct. Michael's body was clean before the post-mortem. Deductive Harris would come to inquire her about it. Father Romero tells he has come to reconsecrate the chapel and the grounds and bring them back to God. He will give her full support in this case. He gives her Michael's belongings, saying that if she discovers anything useful, let him know. Then he leaves from there. When she looks inside, she finds Michael's journal, which is written in a code that only Grace can understand. Grace had no memory of her life before they adopted her, but she would see things no one else could. She was always special. That is, whether her vision is a boon for her or a curse, we will come to know in a short while. In the flashback, we see Grace and Michael as children learning about their father's death in a shipwreck. In the present, the nun is seen going somewhere inside the mirror placed in Grace's room, but actually the door is closed. Then she opens the door and goes out to see who's there. Father Romero comes to meet Mother Superior and some other nuns. He gets angry at them that they are telling the story of Demon to the police. If it was not for the insane reputation of this convent, she got arrested for that. Mother Superior says that he should not have given that book to Grace. They can't trust her, can't underestimate her power. He says that he will see what has to do. Here, they feel someone's presence as well. Grace reads his journal. We see after receiving the news of her father that night, Grace praying for her father's resurrection, and a menacing entity lurking behind her, after which the darkness came into their lives. Her dad returned safely that night, but her prayers were not taken by God but by the devil. In the present, Sister Meg apologizes while running and Grace follows her. She cuts her wrist, but it is actually a vision of Grace, and Sister Meg is safe and sounds behind her. Then they talk among themselves. Later, Grace calls her friend John and tells him that she gets some visions. Mother Superior overhears this and says that she can help her, but Grace tells her to stay away from her as she is annoyed with her. Mother Superior tells the visions are from your past and future. Detective Harris is interrogating the Mother Superior. She accepts that she had cleaned Michael's body so that he could be presented to God properly. Whatever Michael had done, the demon who possessed him had left him. Harris doesn't believe it. Father Carroll's body was found in the chapel and Michael's was lying on the beach. Nothing here was making direct sense to him. It is obvious that he does not believe in the possession of the devil. Grace talks to Father Romero and he says that some ancient language is written in the journal. She tells it was a childhood code, which they started using it right before her mother died. He would have written it like that because he didn't want anyone else to read it. In the journal, Michael was written that Grace tried to protect him, but darkness always came back into his life. When his father returned, he had changed. He always used to keep the whole family in the cage. The strange thing here was that he always believed in God and was very calm, but after coming back, he had turned evil and was behaving very strangely. Grace asks him to go to the washroom and he takes her there. Grace throws a key to her mother. Then Grace's mother tries to escape, but she gets caught and killed by him. She hides after seeing this. Then he comes to find her and kill her too, but only then someone attacks and make him unconscious. Grace's father gets prisoned for his wife's murder. Now both the children are free, but at the moment they have become orphans. In the present, Grace goes to Father Romero and preparation for consecration is going on inside the church. She tells that Michael discovered that this convent tried to adopt them when they were young. She has forgotten about it, but she thinks it's what's brought Michael here. Father Romero says that the Mother Superior had told him that Michael had come here in search of the truth about the Relic. The original church used to house a relic. Grace asks where is it now. Father tells there was an earthquake in 1993, the cliff subsided, and the ocean claimed the crypt in which it was kept. Whatever that relic was, it used to possess an evil force. The Crusaders, their worship of idols, and their quest for power have given the church a bad reputation. They have books here on that exact time in history if she wants to read them. In the flashback, they were picked up for adoption by Father Jacobs and Sister Diane from the Mount Savior convent. But midway, Michael was abandoned on the side of the road, while Father Jacobs tried to knock Grace unconscious with chloroform. However, a freak accident apparently saved her from whatever the father and the sister had in mind. Perhaps due to this injury, Grace must have forgotten those things. Grace reads the ancient books, and in that too it is written in the same code language. It was not a code language created by them, but an ancient language that existed at one time in reality. Grace learns from the book that a child was imprisoned by the Knights of the Morning Star, which was called the Vessel of Darkness. Grace heard some noises, so she followed them to the basement. She saw the torture bed. As soon as she touched it, she gets a vision that Mother Superior, Father Carroll, and some nuns are torturing Michael and asks him about the relic. Michael says that he knows nothing, but they don't believe him. Then Michael killed Father Carroll. Now we know the truth of Father Carroll's death, but we still do not know who killed Michael. Then a nun attacks her, but only then some invisible force saves Grace and forces the nun to commit self-inflicted death. Harris takes Grace for questioning. He asks about the nun that killed herself. She tells Michael was chasing some sort of missing relic. It is extremely powerful and they were afraid of it. They were trying to use Michael to find it, and now they are using me. But Harris finds this thing very strange and seems to be a story. Then he puts her in the cell, and already Mother Superior is also imprisoned. Now the next day Grace is released because a nun testified for her, although she herself accepts that she was alone when she died. Harris tells her to go home and grieve for her brother. He doesn't want to see her around here again. Then she goes to the prison to meet her father. He says that he is not her dad. Her real dad is in hell with two horns sticking out his head. Grace does not understand this thing. He further says that Grace called him back from death because when she had prayed, the devil had listened. He was brought alive by darkness. That is, all the darkness that was inside him had come out. This was the reason that he killed his own wife. Grace tells that Michael has been killed. He asks her to bring him back to life as she did to him, as she did miracle with him, just like the day he found her wandering on the beach 10 years old alone. Wet, shivering. Someone had thrown you into the sea to die, but you don't die. He says wherever she goes, death and destruction follow her. Now he gets aggressive and shouts at her, and she leaves from there. Her dad is very angry with Grace. On the other side, we see Harris asking Mother Superior some things about Relic and Michael. She tells Michael had found the relic and he wants to return it to them. But Michael didn't understand its power. She must be purified, cleansed, and contained once more. She reveals that the relic is not a thing but a girl named Grace. Grace knows that she is a relic and very dangerous, but the Mother Superior is confused as to why she does not remember anything. The reason for which we know that she had an accident, due to which her memory had reduced a bit. Grace arrives at the chapel where the consecration is in progress. She goes ahead and finds Meg in the garden. She tells that Mother Superior had said that Grace would be responsible for the downfall. Sister Beth came with a knife to kill her, but then some invisible force again saves Grace and breaks the wrist of that sister. Meg runs to a secret place and takes her life by cutting the veins. And this is the vision Grace had seen earlier. That is, she can see the future and the past. She sees herself in the mirror covered in blood as a nun. Distraught, she comes to the chapel and says that she has seen things. Something is wrong with her. She is cursed. She seeks help from Father Romero to cure her, and everything is happening because of her. She doesn't even want to do such a thing, but everything is going wrong. Father Romero takes her with him to the Consecrate. In the chamber, ancient language is written. Now the story goes a century ago, when that girl was caught and was kept imprisoned in the church. She was a relic, and in fact, the girl never died. But in 1993, when the church was broken, she fell into the water and was released, who was adopted by a man, and this girl is none other than Grace. and she is not a normal girl but Lucifer's daughter. That's why his dad said that his real father is in hell. This is the reason why she was earlier imprisoned inside the church. Now you must be wondering why she was not killed. Actually, she cannot be killed, only imprisoned. In the beginning, in the 12th century, some ritual was being done on her so that she would get a full sense of her powers, but that ritual could not be completed. Grace comes out and only then some invisible force stabs Father Romero as well, because somewhere his intention was also to imprison her. She runs to the same old church and seeks forgiveness for her sins. Grace decides to jump from the cliff after realizing that she's the Relic. Harris tries to stop her, but she goes down anyway. Grace's body isn't found, though. Harris takes Mother Superior back to her convent after questioning her about the death of one of the nuns, and we learn that Father Romero has apparently survived the horrific impaling and is returning to the Vatican. Seeing how convenient all this is for Mother Superior, he asks her how she influenced Grace to kill herself. Mother Superior says Grace isn't dead yet and she needs to be stopped. And we see that she's speaking the truth because Grace is alive and has moved to London. While taking a walk through the streets, she's confronted by Mother Superior, who goes on to pull a gun on her. That's when a cab rams into Mother Superior and apparently kills her. Whether or not that's influenced by the guardian angel, I think the two versions of Grace exist in two different planes of time. One is the guardian angel, who has accepted that she's the Relic, and the other is Grace, who is on the path to learning that she's the Relic. The guardian angel and Grace are obviously in a kind of time loop, as suggested by the way the movie ends, and begins because Grace sees the things that are going to happen in the future, which is, in turn, influenced or altered by the guardian angel. The red mark on Grace in Michael's photo, the specter in the mirror in Grace's house, the invisible person who knocks out Vincent, the car crash, Michael's final vision, the eerie presence, the self-inflicted deaths of the nuns who tried to kill Grace, and Father Romero's injury are all the guardian angel's work. Now, I am guessing that Michael's Christian origins clashed with those of Grace's, and he felt the guardian angel's presence, or at least understood that something evil was at play, and the search for that led him to Mother Superior's convent. Sadly, his research revealed the fact that Grace was the Relic that Mother Superior and her minions were searching for and planning to imprison. When Mother Superior and Father Carroll learned about Michael's relationship with Grace and thought that he could lead them to her, they started to torture him into spilling the truth. But Michael didn't say anything and chose death by suicide after killing Carol over revealing Grace's truth. Michael believed that God would catch him if he went through the ritual of taking a step towards the edge of a cliff for every sin that he had committed. However, that clearly didn't work because Michael died. So does that mean God wasn't on Michael's side? If the guardian angel version of Grace visited Michael at the time of his death, why didn't she save him? Well, it's possible that neither God nor Grace wanted to influence Michael's final decision, as that was fated to happen. That is all for today. I hope you like it. Thanks for watching.